What's up, YouTubers? So before we get started with this video, on first take, we're going to be talking about how much pressure is Kevin Durant under to win immediately. So let's see what they have to say about that.
Looking at the top 10 players according to ESPN's NBA rank, player number 6 on the ranking is Nets superstar Kevin Durant. KD making his return to the court.
Kevin Durant at the overall 6th spot. He should probably be higher.
After an 18-month layoff due to an Achilles rupture. In his final game with the Warriors, he's joined by Kyrie Irving as they try to bring a championship to BK. Stephen A., on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pressure is on KD this season?
Honestly speaking, y'all gonna think I'm crazy. I'm gonna give it about a 5. I don't think there's that much pressure on KD at all. KD's got to show, listen, if it's all about KD's health. KD's health, because he's coming off of an Achilles, which is the worst injury you could come off of as a basketball player. That, to me, buys him a little bit of latitude. Now, he can't go out and stick up the joint. He can't come out and average 20 instead of 25, 26, 27. I understand that, but I think that's where his obligation is going to lie. Outside of that, I think Kyrie Irving and the kind of attention that he has brought to himself, I think because of that, that's a huge distraction potentially for the Brooklyn Nets. And I think when people look at KD, they're going to be looking to see how healthy he is. That's it, because they know what he can do if he's healthy. In the case of Brooklyn, in terms of locker room cohesiveness, being together, focused on the task at hand, etc., I think a lot of that attention and pressure is going to be on the shoulders of Kyrie Irving. That's the only reason that I threw out a 5.
So I somewhat agree with Stephen A. Smith, but I'd go a little bit higher. I'd give Kevin Durant about 6 or 7 out of 10 on a scale of pressure for this year. I give him a huge room for buffering because of his catastrophic injury that he had. And I like to see him come back and kind of not work his way self in, but just be kind of cautious a little bit. Make sure he's comfortable with playing with his, the injury that he had, that he healed up from. So it might take him a little bit of time to get acclimated to the league again. But definitely, I can't give him a 5. I got to give him more credit, like a 6 or 7. So I don't know. Let's continue.
Well, someone might throw out a 5 for those reasons, but not you. You are not allowed to do that because on this show, well, let me back up. I'll give him a 9. I think he's facing 9 in terms of pressure because if he was healthy, it'd be a 10. He came to the media capital of the world, Brooklyn, USA, with Kyrie Irving, and they got Dinwiddie, and they got LeVert. They got guys who can play. I'd say a 10, but coming off an Achilles, I'll go down off that 10. But there's a guy named Stephen A. Smith who on the most popular sports talk show in the country is talking about every time you turn around. Turn on First Take, there's Stephen A. Smith. Kevin Durant is 7 feet tall with a 7'6" wingspan. He could average 25 in his sleep. That's you saying that stuff. And guess what? As a result, people are expecting KD to come out and ball. And if KD is averaging 25 in his sleep and Kyrie's there and those other dudes are there, Brooklyn has to do well. Is there pressure on KD this season? Yes, there is. Less than if you weren't there saying he could average 25 in his sleep and the Achilles doesn't matter, but you do have to factor that in. I'm going to say a 9, not a 10 because of the injury, but not a 5 because of Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, so I wouldn't give him a 9. That's a little bit too high. Like I said, he has injuries and he's trying to get back and get comfortable with playing after healing up. But definitely, Kevin Durant decided he was going to leave the Golden State Warriors before he got hurt. So he was willing and ready to go play anywhere. There's nothing that was too big for him. There's no city too big that he wouldn't want to go play in and that he didn't think he'd be able to ball in. So to bring up that, he was injured and if he doesn't live up to it, the big lights in the big city and all that, that means that he's not doing so well. Well, I wouldn't say that because he didn't plan on getting injured. When he planned on leaving, he was planning on going to wherever, any team, and balling out. But he couldn't account for being injured. So if he comes back and he's a little rusty this year, I can't really blame him for that. And I definitely won't hold it above his head that, now you're playing in Brooklyn, the #1 hubbub of news reporters and all sort of type of trash. I wouldn't do that because he didn't know he was going to be injured. So I don't know. Let's continue.
Okay, people, before you go, only let me add this point. I have zero concerns. Zero that KD is going to average at least 25 a game. 0. That's why I didn't even think about the pressure, because everything else is on Kyrie to me. But go ahead.
Well, Stephen A., I feel like you getting soft today. You gave Kevin Durant a 5. I was going to give him a 10, but since his injury, I'm going to give him a 9 with Max for the simple fact, not only did he go to the bright lights, the Big Apple, New York City, but he left a dynasty. Arguably the best team ever assembled. He had everything he needed in Golden State, and you left there to prove to the world that, hey, I'm going to take my talent elsewhere and show y'all that I could win without Steph Curry. So with that being said, knowing that you were coming back off an injury, you chose to go and team up with one of your besties, Kyrie Irving, and I get that. But now you have to deliver, especially in New York. So I understand that Kevin Durant is coming off an Achilles injury. I get it. But the pressure is still there. The pressure is there for him to deliver. The pressure is there for them to at least get to the finals. So the pressure is a 9 for me, Stephen A. You being soft this morning.
Yeah, so I understand Perkins' argument there, but like I said before, Kevin Durant already decided he was going to leave before he was injured. So in his mindset was he's going to go anywhere and ball out because that's how he is. He's just a straight up baller. He didn't account for him being injured. So, you can't really factor in, oh, well, he's under the big lights and all, yada, yada. He didn't factor in that he was going to be injured, that would derail him a whole year of playing basketball. And then when he comes back, people still question whether or not he can still ball out, which I think he can. But like I said, holding that over his head, that doesn't hold too much water.
Well, listen, first of all, I have the perfect excuse for being soft because I'm going to be on General Hospital, which is a soap opera. If there's any excuse to be soft, that would be it for this particular moment in time.
Yeah, that would definitely be it. General Hospital? Come on now.
I'm KP. That's number one. But number two, that's as a gangster. That's true. That's true.
And they have him on there as a gangster? That's kind of messed up, man. I don't even know what to call that. Jeez.
But in all seriousness, as a romantic lead, you're a killer on that show.
They working on that. Stay tuned. They working on that. But number two, let me get to my other point here, okay?
I got you.
Year 2 of KD playing, like for example, I think the pressure mounts to a 10 for the 2021-22 season. Right now, I think that people are going to be looking to see what his health is like. But outside of that, they're going to look at Kyrie because of all that Kyrie has entailed. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were all sitting here talking about, what kind of distraction is Kyrie going to be? Is Kyrie going to get in the way of this team's success? Blah, blah, blah. You in the media capital of the world. You inviting this kind of scrutiny, these headlines, these distractions. Because of all of that is why I diminished the level of pressure on KD for this year. Outside of him having the show, he can still average 25 again, which I have zero doubt he will do. That's why I'm looking at it.
Yeah, so I don't know about the in the locker room situation, anything off the court. I'm just primarily worried about what Kevin Durant's going to do individually. Also with the team, but everything that would happen on the court. Off the court, you can't really account for that because you don't really know how Kyrie's behavior is going to be because he's been all over the map with his behavior. So I'm just wondering that should be for another video. I'm just pretty much talking about Kevin Durant and how he's going to do this year and how he's going to be able to play with the team and how they're going to get along and be able to play on the court. Off the court, I don't really know what to say. But Kyrie Irving kind of asked for it because now he's the alpha male of this team and he's going to be the leader of this team. So it'll affect Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant is not necessarily an alpha male. He's not the guy that's going to be hooting and hollering and hyping up the team. He just leads by example. So as far as anything off the court, I wouldn't really blame Kevin Durant because that's just not in his personality to be the team leader, to be the alpha male, even though he plays like one. So I hope I said this so it makes sense. So
a little less pressure.
When we say pressure, the real question is pressure to go how far? If you tell me there's 5, the pressure's on a 5 on KD, if they lose in the first round of the playoffs, no, they can't do that. What are we talking about? Pressure to get to the finals? Maybe I'll go down to an 8 or something like that because of what you just mentioned about Kyrie. I think that's valid. but they have to make a playoff run. Year one, these two guys have to make a playoff run because
So I can see them making the playoffs. I think they'll make the playoffs, though.
everyone acknowledges,
Okay.
even off the Achilles,
Okay.
best player on the team is KD. It's his team.
Well, I would say Kevin Durant is the best player, but as far as, like I said, being the alpha male and the leader of the team, the vocal guy, that's going to go to Kyrie. I hope I said that so it makes sense. You know, Kevin Durant, it's just not in his personality to be the leader, the front runner, the guy that's hooting, hollering, getting everybody motivated. He just leads by example, by, tearing it up, absolutely, or just straight balling. So anything else would probably fall on Kyrie. But it is, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain.
Go ahead, Kendrick.
Well, I mean, listen,
Kendrick?
Max, I have to disagree. I have to disagree with you on this one for the simple fact Brooklyn has all the pieces. When you look at them on paper, they got two certified centers in DeAndre Jordan and Allen. They have LeVert, who's a rising star in my.
Okay, what was that? Is somebody drawing or something? What was that noise? Somebody scraping something?